And there we go. Okay, so we are recording this session, but it is just the speaker that will be recorded. And if you speak, your voice would be recorded, but not your video. So, as I said, my name is Mary Jean Belrose, and I just want to introduce Vicki to you. She is a long-time spiritual seeker who has always been longing for peace and wholeness. And one time while stretching at the end of a fitness class, she sensed an indescribable sense of connectedness between her body, mind, and breath. And the word yoga was imprinted on her mind. And somehow she felt in every cell of her body this need for yoga. So that's how her practice began and has evolved over the years. So Vicki feels called to build bridges of understanding between people of all faiths and to create communities that can move beyond the confines of traditional religion to places of understanding and oneness. She's also trained as a spiritual companion and is a registered yoga teacher with Yoga Alliance. Her yoga practice has deepened her awareness of the sacredness of everyday life, such that it has become wisdom in action, spirit in motion. So you know that Vicki lives her yoga, lives through that. Awakening Spirituality is presenting this session tonight, and Awakening Spirituality provides online gathering places for spiritual seekers to openly explore various topics, to share knowledge and experience and understandings, and even question in a safe, non-judgmental space. All of our events are free, and they're open to inquiring minds wanting to seek and deepen their relationship with spirit. The focus is on dialogue and guidance rather than on dogma or restricted thinking. And you can find out more about Awakening Spirituality on our website at awakeningspirituality.ca if you're interested. So just a few housekeeping items that I need to share with you tonight before we get started. It is best practice if we can keep our microphones muted while Vicki is doing her presentation and throughout. There will be a question period at the end, so you will have opportunity to speak up with questions. And if you have questions about the setup or the mechanics of tonight, please send the questions in the chat to myself, or they can be addressed to everyone, and I'll pick those up there and we'll address those as needed. So if your microphone is not muted and I do hear some background noise, please don't be offended if I mute you. It's nothing personal. I just I'm trying to keep the flow going for everyone as best as possible. During the first part of our gathering tonight, Vicki's going to present some information about Yoga Nidra, and I'll have her spotlighted on your screen so that you'll be able to see Vicki. You can either choose to use the speaker view or the gallery view if you prefer to see everyone while Vicki is presenting. It's up to you, and those options are generally in the top right-hand corner of your screen where it says view. And you can choose speaker view or gallery view. It's always nice to see everyone's video in order to create connections with one another. However, it is not required, and there are no judgments if you need to stop your video. But during the actual practice, as we're going to be laying down, it won't be necessary to have the camera actually on or pointed towards yourself. So no need to adjust your camera. So as I mentioned, the session is being recorded. This is just so that we can make it available to others who may not have been able to participate tonight in our session and to get an idea of what Yoga Nidra is all about. So I'm going to turn it over to Vicki now, and I'll just spotlight her for you so that you can see. There we go. Thank you, Vicki, for putting this on for us tonight. We're looking forward to this.
Thank you so much, Mary Jean, and thank you for being our tech host tonight. That is such a gift. I also teach some online classes where I'm both my own host and I'm also teaching, so it's such a gift to have this. And so thankful to Awakening Spirituality for just being open to different ways of connecting to spirit and connecting to each other. And I'm thankful to each of you for taking a chance and showing up. I'm just very inspired by how the Zoom platform has allowed us to begin to connect from all different places and in all different ways. And, you know, as I look at your faces here, I'm always wondering, I wonder what their story is. I wonder what's brought you to this place. So I just really want to welcome everyone here. So my students have a nickname for me, and it's as the Queen of Relaxation or the Goddess of Relaxation. But I want you to know that I haven't always been the Queen of Relaxation. At one point, I had a really crazy, busy life until I discovered Yoga Nidra. I'm going to share a little bit about that in a moment. But I do feel a deep calling to help people relax and rediscover rest, because that's where true healing lies on all levels, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. One of my favorite classes that I teach is called Healing Path Yoga. And this is a class that's designed specifically for people that deal with ongoing chronic pain in their body, or perhaps some depression or anxiety. And the big part of that class is the practice of Yoga Nidra. It just provides healing on so many different levels. So, my hope today is to provide a little bit about the science and the philosophy behind Yoga Nidra, but most of all, to give you the experience of Yoga Nidra, to inspire you, to seduce you, to take time for the simple but radical act of making time to rest. So I'd like to start with kind of a welcoming, arriving meditation. And I have a candle here. And I'd like you to imagine that we are all sitting in a circle together. You see my candle? And that it is maybe even a campfire, that we're all drawing close to the light. And so take a moment just to settle yourself into the space where you are. And so I honor each of you for finding your way to this gathering. And so we call on the spirit of our ancestors, biological, spiritual teachers and guides, those who have nurtured and supported us on this path. And I want to also honor the ancestral spirits of the land where we dwell, the Indigenous First Nations, those who have hunted and gathered and stewarded this land for us. In Alberta, I honor the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Siksika, the Kainai, Piikani. And so I encourage you, wherever you are, to honor those land ancestors and the First Nations people that have taken care and stewarded this land. Just take a moment to be grateful. And so we listen to this bell as a way of coming home to ourselves, coming home to our body, to our breath, to our true self. And so taking a deep breath in, and as you exhale, just feel yourself beginning to arrive fully in the space where you are. Feel the weight of your body in your chair or cushion or wherever you're sitting. And feel the support of your own breath. And feel the support of this online community as we gather together. And feel yourself completely welcomed into this space. All of who you are, all of who you've been, and all of who you are growing into. So, how are you? Quite often we get asked this question and we say, oh, I'm fine. And yet there's all kinds of stuff going on inside us. We're busy, we're feeling tired, we're burnt out, and we just say, oh, yeah, I'm fine. But we're not exactly fine. There's lots going on beneath the surface. And what would it be like for us to be able to truly say, I'm not just fine, I'm great, I'm wonderful, I'm so vibrant. There's a 2016 report from the United States that says that only 24% of women, it was done with women, said they woke up feeling well rested for the past 7 days. Only 24%. Maybe you're in that 24%. You feel great. But maybe you're also in that 76% that maybe don't sleep well. Maybe you don't feel like you have the energy to do the things that you truly want to do. So things like insomnia, depression, anxiety, and other mental health problems are on the rise in all sectors of our population, and especially with this pandemic and all the uncertainty and stress that it puts on us. New research is beginning to show that depression results from excessive activity that is not balanced by proper rest. So our nonstop doing keeps our nervous system on high alert all the time. We get stuck in that fight, flight, or fright reaction. And I too was once caught up in this cycle. So about 12 years ago, so a little bit about my story. About 12 years ago, I'd been teaching yoga. I had all these wonderful practices, but I got myself too busy. I also had 2 teenage boys at home. So those of you that have had children understand that, running them from all their different activities. I was teaching, I was running a yoga studio, I was involved with my church. I just felt like I was that hamster running endlessly on the wheel of life. And then I began to discover Yoga Nidra. I read a little bit about it, and then I bought a book on it, and then I attended a workshop up in Calgary, and I was hooked. So this idea of just lying down to rest. It's a guided rest. And as you'll learn, you'll be guided through different layers of awareness. But I soon found that I was beginning to get some of my energy back. And somehow Yoga Nidra created more space in my life. I used to be, sometimes too busy to have tea with a friend or too busy to do the things that I really knew were important. And yet somehow Yoga Nidra began to shift that a little bit for me. It also helped me through a difficult time when my mother was dying of cancer and was in palliative care. I'm not going to share that story tonight. If you want to listen to my podcast, which is on awakening spirituality, you can hear that story. But just wanted to give you a little bit of background about me and how Yoga Nidra began to shift me into a way of being instead of a way of always endlessly doing. So I don't want to do all of the talking tonight and talk too much about rest. So we thought what we would do this evening. So it's always nice when we gather online to maybe connect to each other. So we're going to divide you into partner groups actually and go into a little breakout group. Mary Jean, are we almost ready for that?
We are ready.
Okay,
There is going to be one group that will have 3.
Okay, let me give the instructions first. So when you come into your group, so we'll have about, did we set the time yet, Mary Jean? Did we say 5 minutes?
5 minutes? Yes.
Maybe 6. Let's do 6 minutes. Can we still change that?
We can do that.
On you tonight.
No problem.
So introduce yourself, your name, and where you're from, and then answer the question with each other. How do I rest? How do I rest? And the second question may be, what gets in the way of rest for you? So how do I rest or take care of myself? And what gets in the way of rest? So with that, I will send you off for a 6-minute little sharing with partners, and probably nice if you don't mind turning your video camera on when you're talking. That few glitches, you might have been by yourself and talking to yourself, but hopefully you got a chance to connect and really think about the practice of rest in your life. And whether that's something that, we all come from different backgrounds, so whether that's something that you're used to or whether this is a new concept for you. And there's different ways of resting. Yoga Nidra is one way. Sometimes people do more active things to rest, but that's not always true rest. It's some self-care perhaps, maybe whether you go walking in the woods or whether you find doing some art or music. Those kind of things are wonderful self-care activities, but true rest is not active. It's about surrender. And I want to read a beautiful reading from David White from his book Consolations on True Rest. And he talks about 5 different states. So in the first state of rest is the sense of stopping, of giving up on what we've been doing or how we've been doing. In the second is the sense of slowly coming home, the physical journey into the body's uncoerced and unbullied self. That's a strong statement. The uncoerced and unbullied self. Sometimes we're our worst bully. In the third state is a sense of healing and forgiveness and arrival. And in the fourth state is the give and the take, the blessing and the being blessed. And the fifth stage is a sense of absolute readiness and presence, a delight in and anticipation of the world and all its forms, a sense of being simply the meeting itself between inner and outer. So the sense of rest as just letting go and letting be. It's a wonderful book called Daring to Rest by Karen Brody. I think Mary Jean might put that in the chat for us. But in it, Karen breaks Yoga Nidra into 3 phases. So the first phase of Yoga Nidra is rest. It's that physical rest. It's releasing that physical sense of exhaustion. Because rest is always the first step to wellness. And so in this first step of Yoga Nidra, we take our attention all through our physical body to shed that physical tiredness and tension. It helps to regulate our cycles, our hormonal cycles, our sleep cycles, our daily cycles. And it also helps release tension and pain. And the second phase is release. And this is a release of our mental and our emotional exhaustion and all of that overwhelming stuff. You know, our mind just gets so busy with all its planning and all its worries and all its to-do lists. And of course, it's even worse now in the middle of this pandemic because there's just so much we don't know and so much uncertainty. And the other thing about being too busy is that we don't have time to fully process our feelings and our emotions. Stuff happens and we don't have time to fully acknowledge, well, how am I feeling about this? How am I feeling about this relationship? How am I feeling about what happened? And so Yoga Nidra gives us time to just release into that sense of taking time for these things to arise within us. And the third phase that Karen talks about is rise. So this sense of getting through all our stuff and to reconnect to our soul's calling and creativity. And so Yoga Nidra helps us clear out all that stuff, that burnout that we're experiencing at the deeper levels of our being. Sometimes we just feel that bone deep tiredness and fatigue and that sense of overwhelm. And what happens when we clear out this burnout, we begin to listen to those little soul whispers. And one of the reasons that we stay worn out is a chronic disconnection from our soul and from not listening to those deep, deep messages that come from our soul. And the soul is the seat of our true power. It's what gives you energy. And you know that when you are filled with some creative purpose, nothing can stop you. You have that sense of knowing and lots of energy to do it. Yoga Nidra also reminds us that we have all the wisdom that we need inside of us, and we can call in what we need for our creative purpose. So Yoga Nidra takes you deep into your inner world where you can clearly hear the voice of your soul. So I'm going to move right into what Yoga Nidra is, a little bit of the different layers we go through so that we can actually get to the practice. So Yoga Nidra is a conscious relaxation and meditation technique. It's usually done in the yogic posture of Shavasana, a lying down position. You can also do it in a sitting down position. And now that people are doing it a lot in their own homes, if you have your favorite easy chair that you can relax in, you can do it there too. And the idea is that you simply lie down and relax and surrender your body to the ground while being guided away from your busy, crazy outer life into your inner self. So, Yoga Nidra means yogic sleep. It is sleep with a trace of awareness, where you're guided into that state of deep relaxation that gives you the same benefits as a good night's sleep. And yet, some part of you stays aware. Yoga Nidra is also known as a practice of pratyahara, which means a drawing of the senses inwards, away from outer distractions. And there's so much in our outer world now and online to distract us. And so you'll be guided through different stages of consciousness to find yourself floating in a dream-like state. You'll be open to healing thoughts and memories that quite often keep us stuck in certain patterns. Yoga Nidra has so many benefits. The usual physiological responses, our heart rate slows down, our breathing slows down, our blood pressure goes down. It boosts our immune system. Boy, we need that right now. It releases tension and strain from our muscles and our joints. And as I said earlier, it helps us to manage chronic pain. It also has an emotional response. It can reduce depression, anxiety, and those big mood swings. It leaves us with a feeling of contentment and inner peace. It creates better sleep patterns and gives us more energy. So Yoga Nidra has a number of different stages. So there's a general, there's lots of Yoga Nidra practices, but they all have some common guidelines. And the first part of Yoga Nidra is arriving and making yourself comfortable, lying down and, making sure that you feel like you can relax. It's usually done for between 20 to 40 minutes. And the other part of this is welcoming your experience exactly as it is. And that includes maybe there's some tension in the body, maybe there's some worries in your mind. So it's just welcoming what is instead of what we think should be. The next step in Yoga Nidra is a sankalpa. And this is creating an inner intention or a resolve. It's like, what is my heart's deepest desire for my life? Or maybe just a quality you'd like to invite in, like peace or balance or health or wholeness. And we state it in the present moment. So we say, I am healthy and whole, or I am peaceful. And so we plant this seed for this quality to manifest more fully in our being and in our life. Next, you'll be guided through a rotation of consciousness to all parts of your body. So we'll just keep bringing awareness all through your body in a very sequential way. This can be done in a number of different ways. But this is a way of, first of all, training our body to be present and our mind to be present. It's also a way of awakening sensations. So a lot of us, we don't spend a lot of time focusing on our body and we get disconnected because we live up in our heads. So in Yoga Nidra, you're beginning to awaken sensation at deeper and more subtle levels. And also, just by bringing attention to different parts of your body, it's very soothing to the nervous system. So next, we start to move through these 5 different layers of awareness, the Maya koshas. And this is a yogic map that helps point the way to our true and radiant self, that part of us that is timeless and beyond our personality. And so Yoga Nidra holds that our true self is hidden behind these coverings or layers. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about those different layers. And Mary Jean, are you able to bring up that picture of our koshas? It's a beautiful, brightly colored picture there. There it is. So these layers to ourself. So you notice the outermost layer, the red layer, is Annamaya Kosha. And this is our physical body, the one we're all familiar with, although may not be as connected to as we should be. But it's a physical body consisting of bones and muscles, skin, organs, and blood, and everything else. And next, in the yellow, we have Pranamaya Kosha, and this is our energy body. So prana is our life energy, and it's seen outwardly as the breath, but it's not the breath. So when we breathe, air is distributed throughout our bloodstream, but also prana is distributed all through the body. It penetrates the spaces between and within cells, organs, and bones. And so, with gentle guidance from our mind, we use our breath to deliberately infuse our whole body with this vital healing energy. And next is Manomaya Kosha, and this is our mental and emotional body. It's the mind and the senses. It's where our thoughts and our memories reside. So this is a place where we hold deeply embedded thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Everything that we've ever experienced or learned is stored here. So it can be a pretty thick layer, this Manomaya Kosha. And so each time that we've been injured physically or wounded emotionally, we quite often hold this pain or feeling deep in our tissues. In yoga, we have this saying that we hold our issues in our tissues. I think a lot of us know this. We know that we hold stuff in our body, and we're not always sure how to release it. So in Yoga Nidra, we can use the mind to direct the breath to different parts of the mind body to release these hidden thoughts, memories, and trauma. And then we get to Vijnanamaya Kosha, the wisdom body. And all of these bodies are getting more and more subtle. So Vijnanamaya Kosha is the body of intuition and wisdom. It's that deep knowing we have. Because when we relax the body and the mind and we get through all those thoughts and feelings, our deeper knowing and intuition can begin to just rise naturally to the surface. So freed from our body and our thoughts, we begin to feel a sense of lightness and expansiveness. And we feel this physically in our body. We begin to feel lighter at this stage of Yoga Nidra. And then we get to Anandamaya Kosha, which is, I love this, the bliss body or the body of joy. And this is the placeless place of deep stillness, deep peace, and deep joy, just the joy of being alive. And we not only sense and feel this stillness and this joy, we actually become this stillness and this joy that is beyond the body, breath, or thoughts. And then we finally arrive at the true self, where we feel one with all, and that's that heart-centered place where there is no more separation. So that was a really quick rundown of the 5 koshas. And although I've described these koshas or these bodies sequentially, it's important to realize that these sheaths are not separate, but they all intermingle. So you can imagine all of these colors intermingling on the screen. They're not separate. And so it's this practice of going inwards is very much like the Christian meditative practice of walking the labyrinth, that slow meandering inwards and outwards with no idea where you're going and when you'll get there. So there's really no there to get. So I want to let you know that when we first practice Yoga Nidra, we usually kind of stay in the outer layers. It's enough just to get our physical body to relax and maybe connect to our breath. But with ongoing practice, we start to sink a little bit deeper into it. The other thing that happens when we first practice Yoga Nidra is we quite often fall asleep because a lot of us are tired or sleep deprived. It's a little bit later for you in the East right now, so you may fall asleep. But know that the idea of Yoga Nidra is that something within you stays aware and awake and receives the healing energy of this practice. So I think that's enough talking about the practice. So in a moment, we're going to get ready. You're going to lie down on your mat, on the floor, on your bed, or easy chair. So just before we do that, are there any quick questions that you want to ask? We're going to have a longer question period at the end. So any quick questions you're not sure about, go ahead and unmute yourself. Okay. So, not hearing any, I'm going to invite you into this delightful practice of Yoga Nidra. So, go ahead and get yourself comfortable. And you'll probably want to stretch your legs out along the floor or the bed. And make sure your feet are about hip width or more apart. Those of you that are familiar with the yogic posture of Shavasana, this is it. Let your feet roll out gently from the ankles. And notice how your pelvis or your lower back feels. And a little trick here is to inhale, squeeze your buttocks, and the pelvis lifts a little bit, and then set the pelvis back down. That usually will release the lower back a little bit. And if you do have a lower back strain, make sure that there's a bolster or a pillow behind your knees. Mary Jane, did you have something to say?
I'm hearing some background noise. Ingrid, if you have your microphone unmuted, maybe you could mute it for us. I can't seem to mute you, but I don't see anybody else that has their microphone open. So I'm assuming that's where the background noise is. So Ingrid. Yeah, not getting any response, but just carry on, Vicki.
Okay, all right. All right, so getting yourself comfortable and usually relaxing the arms to the sides, a comfortable distance from your body. Turn the palms up and roll the shoulders under, and just make sure that your arms and your shoulders feel comfortable. And feel your head in line with your spine. You might want to slightly draw the chin down, and that you usually lengthen the back of the neck. It's nice to have a pillow or cushion supporting your head. And also important to have a blanket. So please cover yourself with a blanket. Even if you feel warm right now, because in deep relaxation, the body draws all that energy inwards, and quite often we can get a little bit of a chill. And also, the covering of a blanket makes us feel more safer and not as vulnerable. So please do just make yourself comfy and cozy. And closing your eyes, and notice how it feels like to be in your body self right now. And bring a kind and compassionate sense of caring for yourself. Treat yourself with a sense of reverence. You're such a miracle. All of us are miracles. Welcome yourself fully to this practice. So Yoga Nidra, like the posture of Shavasana, is about surrendering back to the earth. It's about letting go. And so feeling that sense, the weight of your body sinking into the surface that you're lying on, the ground, maybe even imagining settling down through the floorboards, maybe down through your basement, down into the foundation, and right down into the earth. And so this idea of connecting back to the earth through our practice. And there's a lovely poem by Mary Oliver called Sleeping in the Forest. And so I'm going to read it now as a way of just inviting yourself to be held by Mother Earth. I thought the earth remembered me. She took me back so tenderly, arranging her dark skirts, her pockets full of lichens and seeds. I slept as never before, a stone on the riverbed, nothing between me and the white fire of the stars, but my thoughts. And they floated light as moths among the branches of the perfect trees. All night I heard the small kingdoms breathing around me, the insects and the birds who do their work in the darkness. All night I rose and fell as if in water, grappling with a luminous doom. By morning, I had vanished at least a dozen times into something better. And so perhaps that's what the practice of Yoga Nidra is, vanishing into something better, discovering our true and beautiful selves. And so become aware of your breath, the life-sustaining process that goes on all the time, even when you're not aware. Just feeling that sense of breathing in, that sense of expansion, and as you breathe out, that sense of settling. Tuning into this timeless rhythm of breath and life. And as you continue to breathe, slowly scan your body from head to toe. So feel a sense of the weight of your head, your face. Be aware of your neck, your shoulders, your arms, your hands. Noticing your chest, your rib cage, your belly, and also your back. Let awareness flow down through the hips and the pelvis, down through the thighs, the knees, the shins, the feet. And as you bring just this overall attention to your body, notice the places where the tension might be stored up. Maybe these are tender or sore spaces. Maybe there's tension, strain, discomfort, even pain. And take a moment and with your mind send compassion to these places in your body. Thank those places for their hard work. And be willing to pay attention to what your body has to say to you. And take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, feel yourself settling into the ground and into this practice. And bring your awareness to your heart center, that feeling at the very center of your chest. And we begin to create our sankalpa, your inner intention, a heartfelt prayer. And so think of a quality that you would like to invite into your practice and into your life. Wholeness, healing, peace, contentment, rest and relaxation, love, kindness. Choose one word and turn it into a phrase stated in the present moment. I am peaceful. I am relaxed and rested. And so whatever your phrase is, repeat it silently in your mind 3 times. Plant it deep in the soil of your consciousness. And now we begin the rotation of consciousness. And so just bring that overall attention to your body for a moment, to that sense of your breath. And begin by bringing awareness to the feeling of breath in your belly. As you breathe in, feeling the belly gently rise. And as you breathe out, feeling the belly soften. Just let all of your awareness be here with the breath in the belly. Let each breath be received into a softer and softer belly. And then bring your awareness a little bit higher into the lower part of the rib cage, solar plexus area. And as you breathe in, feel the rib cage lift and expand and broaden. And as you exhale, feeling the rib cage just release and soften. And so there's no force or strain to the breath here, just breathing naturally. Maybe getting in touch with the feeling of your lungs as you breathe in, feel how the lungs expand completely and receive that gift of breath. And as you breathe out, feel how the lungs gently empty as they release. Feeling this gift of receiving the breath, the lungs expand, and as you exhale, the lungs empty, maybe even resting a bit at the end of that out breath, giving your lungs a chance to rest. And then bring your awareness now a little higher up into the chest area again. As you inhale, feeling the chest gently rise. As you exhale, feel the chest gently soften and release. Feeling as you breathe in, perhaps a broadening of your collarbones towards the shoulders. And as you breathe out, again, that softening. So quite often we wear a lot of protection around our heart centers. So as you breathe in, imagine creating a little bit of space there. And as you breathe out, just feel that softening and dissolving of layers, congestion, tightness. Let go of any judgment, continuing to bring that kind and compassionate awareness to your experience. And feeling that full flow of breath all the way through your torso, through your belly, your rib cage, up into the chest, and all the way back down. This breath as the bridge between our bodies and our minds. This breath that carries our prana, our healing energy. And now bring awareness to your neck and your throat. Maybe take a moment to swallow, to relax the throat muscles. Feel a sense of the throat muscles releasing. And then follow the feeling of your neck right up into the center of your head, the center of your skull, center of your gray matter. This can often feel like a busy place. And so just be aware of whatever thoughts are in your mind. And as you breathe in, imagine creating a little bit of space in your head and your mind. And as you breathe out, just a sense of dissolving those thoughts, whatever's on your mind. Trust in this practice. Breathing in as you feel that sense of creating space in your mind. Breathing out, clearing away the cobwebs, the distractions and the thoughts. And then bring awareness to the feeling of your mouth and your jaw. Maybe moisten your lips a little bit. Relax your mouth, your jaw, the tongue. The tongue can be pretty busy sometimes, so let the tongue relax here. And follow the feeling of relaxation all the way up your jawline to your ears. And take a moment just to listen to sounds around you in your space. And having acknowledged outer sounds, we're free to move inwards. So breathe in, and as you exhale, imagine moving inwards through the inner ear canals, away from outer sounds. Soften the space behind your cheekbones. Feel the soft touch of the breath in and out through the nostrils, back into the sinuses. Be aware of all the tiny muscles around your eyes. Inhaling the breath, and as you exhale, invite the eyes to relax back into the head, away from outer sights. Soften the space between your eyebrows. Smooth out the lines of the forehead. Feel your entire face soft and smooth. Continue to feel the rhythm of your breath. Bring your awareness to the sides of the scalp, the top of the scalp, the back of the scalp. And imagine that you could relax the roots of your hair. And feel that softening. And feel the weight of your head as you lie on your pillow or cushion. And take a deep breath in. As you exhale, can you completely give up the weight of your head along with the weight of your thoughts? And from the head, moving down through the curve of the neck. And from the curve of the neck, moving across to the shoulders. Sense and feel your shoulders. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, can you release the tension that might be in your shoulders or anything else that you're carrying physically, emotionally, mentally? Let your awareness flow down through the upper arms to the elbows. Soften the inner space of your elbows. Flow down through the forearms. Relaxing all those muscles down through the wrists and now to the hands. And notice how your hands are. And on your next inhale, spread your fingers wide. And as you exhale, relax and soften your fingers. Let your hands be empty of doing. Let your hands be open to receive the gift of rest and relaxation. Be aware of a sense of relaxing energy in your hands, healing energy. And draw that energy back up through your arms to your shoulders. And now settling into your upper back area. Feel the shoulder blades melting into the surface that you're lying on. Continuing to feel your breath. And feeling into the middle part of your back and the rib cage. And as you exhale, allow the middle part of your back to release and let go of tension. And down on into your lower back area. It's often a place of strain. So imagine sending the healing energy of your breath to your lower back. Allow it to soften, release. And follow the feeling of your lower back down towards the base of your spine, into the sacrum, that triangular bone at the base of the spine. And soften your buttocks. And soften the pelvic floor area. And feel the weight of your pelvis just gently sinking into the ground. Bring awareness to your hip sockets and imagine as you breathe in, you're bringing a sense of space into your hips, relaxing any tension or tightness in the hip joints. And feel the breath in the pelvis. Feel a soft flow, as if we were floating on an ocean of breath. Tension releasing. And let awareness flow down through the thighs, the large bones and muscles of the thighs. And now to the knees. Soften the space behind the knee joints. And now to your lower legs, the shins. Soften the calf muscles. Flow down through the ankles. And now the feet. Feel the skin on the tops of your feet. Feel the skin on the bottom soles of your feet. Be aware of all of your toes and the space between your toes. And now feeling and sensing the whole body, not just the separate parts, but the dance of sensation all through your body, the aliveness. Feeling the flow of breath. And begin to allow the breath to move deeper into your being. Let each breath create more inner space. Breathing in the healing presence of spirit. Take it right into the core of your being. And as you breathe out, let the breath carry out tension. Physical tension, emotional tension, mental tension. Breathe in possibility. Breathe in new hope. Breathe out, letting go of stress and tension stored in your physical self, your emotional self, your mental self. Let go of thinking about it and just feel the sense of flow and release. Breathe in this prana, this life energy that breathed all of creation into being. And breathe out whatever is blocking you from being fully present, fully here, fully you. And once more, bring awareness to the physical feeling of your body. Notice how the breath has probably become a little bit more subtle, softer. And notice if there are still subtle places of tension or holding or constriction. And imagine this healing breath moving directly into this area of tension or tightness, discomfort. Unknotting, untangling, undoing. Letting go, letting open, letting be. And know as we shed these layers of tension and thoughts and feelings, we enter into a sacred inner sanctum, a place where it's safe to be you, a place where you can shed the protective layers and armoring you usually wear. Feel an inner space opening up inside of you. Space for the sacredness of your soul to unfold her wings and fly. Rest deeply in this inner sanctum of peace, stillness, and everlasting life. Yes, so just enjoy a few moments of silence, and then I'll ring a bell. Staying relaxed and at ease. Stay still for a moment and let the sound of the singing bowl gently flow all through your body, mind. Healing sound. Begin to feel back into the solidness of the earth beneath you. And feel how soft and subtle your breath has become. Notice how your body feels. A sense of calm and contentment. And take a moment in this calm and content moment to listen for your soul whispers, those tiny little bursts of insight. Might be a word or a phrase or an image or just a knowing. And continue to be open to these soul whispers, not only now, but into the coming night and even into your dreams. Yoga Nidra affects us on very deep levels. And so beginning now to deepen your breaths, so take some deeper breaths in. And beginning to invite movement slowly back into your body. Maybe begin by wiggling your fingers and your toes and delight in these tiny movements. How wonderful it is to have 10 fingers and 10 toes. And then begin to stretch and move in whatever way feels right for you. Some people want to stretch right out. Others want to maybe hug your knees in, take a little roll on your back for a bit, or maybe take a little bit of a twist. And when you're ready, instead of sitting right up, roll over onto your side first. And again, just rest there for a moment and continue to feel and sense into the depth of your experience. Keep your head supported. And when it feels right, bring yourself up to a seated position. And I'm just going to see if anybody's sitting up yet. If you want to turn your video back on, that might be nice. And so just before we go into a little bit, if you have questions, although you might still be in that really lovely fuzzy Yoga Nidra mind where the questions kind of just dissolve. But I do want to read a passage in closing from Karen Brody's Dare to Rest. And she says it so beautifully because we practice Yoga Nidra not only for ourselves, but we practice it for the world. She says, peace is an inside job. I am convinced that if more women and men practice Yoga Nidra, we would create a more peaceful world because we would all be more at peace with ourselves. We would all sleep better. We would prioritize taking care of ourselves. We would stop chronically burning out, and if we did burn out, we would quickly forgive ourselves. We would bravely tell the untold stories wanting out of our heads and finally release the stories that no longer serve us. We would lead more and feel more confident and creative, doing it our way instead of how it's always been done. Most importantly, we would model to our children how to rest and how to not be afraid of the dark. And so honoring all of our lights together and that beautiful community of rest and well-being. Namaste. So let's open it up for some questions. I'm going to put me on gallery view so I can see everyone. And you can do the same. How was your experience of Yoga Nidra?
It was wonderful as usual. Thank you, Vicki.
Thank you, Judy.
I just love it.
Lovely. Judy's a longtime student of mine right here in Lethbridge, so thank you. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Perhaps I'll stop the video, or the recording rather, Vicki.
Oh, that's probably a good idea. Thank you.